The stress of the holidays can compound issues for people who are hurting. Thankfully, Colorado has the 988 crisis line. If you call, you will get someone's undivided attention to help you. If you text for help, that's not the case. Tonight, 9 News investigates why. Here's Marshall Zellinger.
I always say I'm a salesperson for hope.
Crisis specialists answer calls, texts, and online chats for 988 and Colorado's Crisis Services line. For the first 9 months of the year, call takers like Riley McConnell answered 183,000 calls.
For a lot of people, that's what keeps them alive long enough to get through tomorrow. So that's my job, is to keep people alive.
Riley used to be one of the crisis specialists on the other end of the line for Solari, the company that operates crisis lines in Colorado. Kaylee Cameron also used to answer calls and texts.
It's a crisis prevention service putting their employees in crisis.
They are 2 recently fired employees who wanted 9 News Investigates to review policies they feel need to change for the welfare of those reaching out for help and the employees giving the help.
I was in 2 high-risk chats with 2 high-risk minors, and they expect us to respond to each message in 59 seconds.
One of the policies by Solari is that crisis counselors are expected to handle 2 text or chat conversations at the same time, unless a supervisor deems it to be complex. And texts need to be answered in no more than 1 minute.
It's hard to form a response in an empathetic, caring way, let alone respond to 2 people in 59 seconds in that way.
National guidance from 988 Lifeline last year does not require 2 conversations at one time. While it may be helpful, it is important to maintain a high quality of care for each individual who is seeking support. This can be difficult when managing 2 conversations at once.
I've worked inpatient, outpatient, 988, and I've never been overwhelmed like I was the night that I was put on text and chat.
For the first 9 months of the year, Solari crisis specialists answered 25,000 texts or online chats.
Did you ever confuse 2 chats where you gave certain information that you were meant for the other one?
A couple times. And as you can imagine, they disconnected.
Why would it happen?
Because I'm just having to go so fast.
Should Solari be requiring crisis counselors to take 2 if 988 says it should be up to the individual if they can handle 2?
That's a good question.
We wanted to take our questions to Solari, the Arizona-based company Colorado has contracted with to handle 988 and crisis calls.
They're doing a very good job.
Instead of Solari agreeing to an interview,
We're accountable for what Solari does.
we were offered the person responsible for overseeing Solari, 988 Colorado Director Gordon Coombs.
You know Solari is requiring these crisis specialists to handle 2 at a time.
That's what I understand, yeah.
And you're okay with that?
Yeah, and if we need to reevaluate that, I'm perfectly fine continuing to assess that.
He says Solari is exceeding the goals set by the state by answering calls and texts within 20 seconds. Sometimes callers can be put on hold after being asked a few questions to determine if they are safe to wait.
That means the call's been answered?
According to the metrics, right?
Even though they got no help necessarily, like no true
That's
conversation yet.
That's correct.
National 988 guidelines from last year say simply asking callers to determine if they are in crisis or safe and placing them on hold if they are safe doesn't yield good results.
Is it safe to put someone on hold to wait for a crisis specialist instead of going to a backup call center?
Again, we wanted to ask Solari directly about this. Coombs told us it happens with 6% of calls. Those callers are checked on every 2 minutes, and that callers sent to a backup call center hang up at a higher rate.
I'd rather somebody be in communication in contact with our contact center here in Colorado, where they're being checked on instead of being rolled over into a national backup where they could drop off and not get any help.
Crisis looks different to everyone.
Despite criticizing internal policies she wants to see changed, Riley would still call or text 988 for help.
There are still incredible, compassionate people working the lines that will do everything that they can.
Are the policies because of staffing? We asked the state for some numbers. There are 183 people who work Colorado's 988 line. The state, though, would not tell us how many vacant jobs there are, telling me what's relevant is that Solari meets and exceeds goals. In an email, Solari said based on the nature of my questions with the state, the company would not participate in an on-camera interview, but defended its practices by saying routine audits consistently show that the company exceeds expectations. For Next, I'm Marshall Zellinger.